The long wait is finally over because Suikoden I and II HD Remaster is out today. Last week, I took a look at what the critics said about the first two Suikoden games when they first came out. You know what? That got me thinking about the rest of the series. I mean, we know what Electronic Gaming Monthly thought of Suikoden I and II, but what about the rest of the sequels? What was their favorite game? As it turns out, EGM reviewed a total of 6 Suikoden games between 1996 and 2008. That includes all 5 of the main series games as well as the 2005 spin-off Suikoden Tactics. That's basically every installment that came to the United States, which should make a pretty great list. What we're going to do today is count down the best and worst Suikoden games using Electronic Gaming Monthly's own words and scores. There's no editorializing here, we're just going to focus on what the critics said back when these games first came out. Alright everybody, get ready to catch them all, because this is what happens when EGM Ranks Suikoden.
"108 の星々が紡ぐタイガー RPG 幻想スイコデン5」全てを奪還する。
Alright, we're gonna kick things off with number 6, Suikoden IV on the PlayStation 2. I'm dumbfounded by how basic and dull this game is. Its few human towns are barren, there's almost no interesting locations to explore, and the story takes far too long to get into gear. Roaming the seas, looking for adventure sounds romantic, but the truth is, crawling across the ocean, beset by ceaselessly boring and simplistic random battles, is far from poetic. Fortunately, the game picks up a lot in the last third, and the cool Suikoden touches, like having your own headquarters, are still in place. These save Suikoden IV from abject mediocrity. Barely. Number 5. Suikoden V on the PlayStation 2. This latest Suikoden story is as good and long-winded as ever, narrated through tremendously well-acted, very pretty, and frequent cutscenes. But while the cutscenes impress, a strange murkiness totally undermines the in-game graphics detail and artfulness, even when you zoom in on the action. And the large-scale strategic battles move in disconcerting real-time, resembling something like an upset anthill, with battle units all moving in a panic. Though these war scenes feel woefully out of place, they at least make the game feel even more epic. Actually, my Russian lit professor back in college used to shout at us, "What is epic?" It is long and boring. Yeah, kinda like that. Number 4, Suikoden II on the PlayStation. If you have the time and are willing to commit at least 50 hours, Suikoden II is a role-playing game that'll keep your attention. It heralds 108 characters, including some old favorites like Flick and Victor. The storyline is compelling and features the adult themes of betrayal, death, and tomfoolery. If you had the foresight to save your memory card from the first Suikoden, then you can download those into this lengthy thrill ride. Annoyingly, the main character cannot move sideways, but otherwise it's a real hoot. If you've got the time, it's worth the ride. Number 3, Suikoden III on the PlayStation 2. This third iteration of Suikoden takes some gutsy chances with the series' established formula. As in the previous games, you're still amassing an army of 108 heroes to thwart evil. This time, however, the quest happens concurrently among 3 totally different main characters. It's a cool concept as you witness events from multiple vantage points. The gimmick starts to wear thin though, as these characters visit the same locales, talk to the same townsfolk, and battle the same wild critters. Visually, the average graphics don't impress. The people look kinda neat, but the obvious Final Fantasy X-inspired field and dungeon backgrounds seem blocky and primitive compared to last fall's Square effort. Overall, it won't blow you away, but RPG fans who can see beyond the drab look and the slow intro will find a rewarding epic. Number 2, Suikoden Tactics on the PlayStation 2. This generation, it seems like the Suikoden series can't buckle down and get things right. Both prior PlayStation 2 editions are full of good ideas, and bad ones. Suikoden Tactics is obviously no exception. The irony, of course, is that the solid cinematic storytelling of Suikoden IV, one of the few things that worked, has been discarded. Instead, we got a collection of bobble-headed Lego men and not a hell of a lot of drama, though the story takes itself very seriously. Thus, the focus falls on the gameplay. Suikoden Tactics emphasizes combat strategy. The game is pretty unforgiving, but takes the edge off by doing a better job than any of its contemporaries at keeping you informed of the battlefield conditions by including user-friendly icons. While the game remains highly conventional, the developers clearly understand what makes a game like this interesting, and have executed on this knowledge surprisingly well. And finally, at number 1, it's Suikoden on the PlayStation. It's about time somebody made fantasy RPG characters taller than the squat dwarves we've all grown accustomed to. Suikoden is a great, ambitious project that every PlayStation owner and role-playing game fan will have to get excited about. In fact, nothing that's been released has even come close, although Final Fantasy VII is always looming over the horizon. The combat system works great with spectacular magical effects and large-scale troop battles that add new dimension to the role-playing game field. This is the best PlayStation role-playing game yet. Oh, and by the way, great music too.
出会いの数だけ強くなれ。108の星々と駆け抜けるロールプレイングゲーム。幻想水湖伝3。Konami.
Hey, thanks for watching me count down these classic reviews. You know, I don't normally double up with a review crew and EGM Ranks episode with the same topic, but you know what? I figured why not? Who knows when I'll ever have a chance to talk about this series ever again, so I might as well make the most of it, right? Anyway, if you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we have a whole playlist with these EGM Ranks episodes, looking at Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Sonic, Mario, Bubsy, Ridge Racer, Street Fighter, Tekken, Resident Evil, and dozens more. We really just have so many of these episodes. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite Suikoden game? Look, EGM didn't seem to care much about the sequels, but who knows? Maybe you're partial to Part 4 or Part 5. Or maybe it's the first and second games that are your jam. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Review Crew episode. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.